welcome along to this very special video interview. My name is Broderick, and throughout COVID-19, the Fitness Business Podcast is supporting you with a series of special 20-minute videos. This video, today's broadcast, is brought to you by our podcast partner, Keep Me. Now, it is such a pleasure to welcome along our very special guest for today. She's the General Manager of Brick Body's Fitness Services, Lindsay Bollinger. Lindsay, welcome. Thank you for joining me today.
Hi, Chantal. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Well, we are so thrilled that you're taking the time to join us in the middle of all of this craziness that we're going through at the moment. So we're going to dive into a little bit of detail soon to talk about what you guys have been up to and how you stay connected with your staff throughout the last couple of weeks. But before we do that, in case there are a few people out there that don't know the Brick Bodies brand, do you want to tell us a little bit about the business?
Absolutely. So Brick Bodies is a chain of 4 full-service membership clubs in Maryland. We have 3 coed health clubs and then 1 women's only under the Lynne Brick brand name. So we have just under 20,000 members combined for the whole company.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that. So we found out, I think JT was probably having a chat to you and kind of discovered that you guys have actually been using the Fitness Business Podcast as a bit of a training tool for your staff throughout this time. So I would love to hear what you guys have been up to, how you've been using it, and how it's going with keeping connected with your staff throughout COVID-19.
Absolutely, you got it. So here in Maryland, we were forced to close, government mandated closure on March 16th. So we've been closed for a couple weeks now, and we are in the very fortunate position to be able to keep our full-timers on payroll throughout the duration of the closure. So, that includes our membership counselors, our personal trainers, and our management team. Now, while we're in a very fortunate position with that, we also want to make sure we're smart with that investment because it is an investment that we're making. So a lot of our focus has been on really using this time to find the silver lining and to upskill, train, develop our full-time team, specifically our membership counselors with the Fitness Business Podcast. So we've been really using the content that you have on your show to be able to send out to the team, inspire conversation, takeaways, new commitments to things we're going to try or plan to do when we come back. And it's been really, like I said, it's such a different time for us, and we're all kind of learning as we go, right? I know that's true for everybody listening and watching, but for us, we're looking at this as a silver lining of being able to really focus on our people, because through them, we're able to come back better and stronger on the other side of this, whenever that is. So it's been a wonderful resource for us, and we're fortunate to be able to have the time now to really dive in and get into really good habits as far as learning and discussion and self-improvement with the whole team.
Oh, I love hearing that. Not just because it's the Fitness Business Podcast, but because I am also a huge fan of ongoing education and always learning and learning new things all the time as well. So I love that you've implemented this initiative. And Lindsay, I'd love to really understand, I guess, the mechanics of it. So do you, as the general manager of the business, do you go about and kind of choose different episodes based on the focus, like if it's marketing or social media or onboarding, whatever it might be, and then do you distribute it to your staff, or how do you sort of physically implement that training so that, it is actually something that is successful and that you guys can use, in the future?
Absolutely. So I'll say we start with part of our culture is about getting better every day and making sure that in everything that we do, whether it's with our teams, with our members, with the community, that we are committed to getting better every day. So from that stance, because that's part of our culture, that is something we kind of inherently have some buy-in in as far as the commitment to ourselves to make ourselves better. Now, as far as using a tool like this, it starts with knowing your team, right? And knowing where their strengths are, strengths that you want to reinforce, or where their areas of opportunity are. And you can use, for me, I use some recent performance assessments that we had. I use conversations with my team and really just knowing what their strengths and weaknesses are. And then I started to dive into, just dig through, and I had so much fun doing it, but dig through content on the podcast, either searching for specific terms or looking in the preset categories to be able to provide some guidance and also give me some new ideas for things to cover with them. So what we do is we send out every single morning about 9 a.m. We send out a piece of daily content is what we're calling it. So it's usually in the form of a podcast like the Fitness Business Podcast. And we send that out to them. We give them a synopsis of what they're going to be listening to and then ask for specific takeaways. And those can be broad takeaways. They can be, all right, let's listen to, like one of the most recent ones we did was Scott Stratton, Understanding the Age of Disruption.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, so, great one.
Yeah, that was so much fun. Oh my goodness. But for that one, I gave it to them and I asked them to listen to his perspective and then analyze the way that we handle cancellations, which Scott Stratton has some very strong opinions about, which he shared in the podcast. So, things like that where we're not only developing the team, but also using this time to listen to material and then use it to kind of analyze what we're doing and how we do it, whether it has to do with processes and procedures or just outlook and attitude towards things. So, I'm having a ton of fun with it because it's the people business, right? That's why we got into this field in the first place. And such a huge part of that is your team and the ability to be able to give them material to inspire creative discussion or inspire some introspection has really been just fantastic for them. And it's endless. The possibilities are really endless with all of the content that's out there that you have on your podcast. It really gives a lot of different options as far as being able to cover sales and why we do what we do, how we do it, and then cover marketing and how we present our brand and things like that. So it's really, there's tons of opportunity and it's really key to just have fun with it and make sure that your team is engaged and that you're also having live conversations with them about the material that you cover. Because, so much, yes, we commit to each other in writing and say, all right, I'm going to try this when I get back, or I'm going to do this. But then having the face-to-face Zoom several times a week, we do also to be able to make sure that we can have discussions about what we're listening to, what we're reading, and those types of things, so that we're really kind of taking in the material and then making sure that it carries with us when we come back.
That is exactly what I was going to ask you, Lindsay. So I'm so glad you brought that up. And I will ask you a question in just a second. But as we're talking right now, I actually just want to quickly share the homepage of the website. And hopefully everyone can see this at the moment because, Lindsay, you were just talking about kind of different categories. And, for example, I'm just on the homepage of the website and you mentioned Scott Stratton. So if anyone wants to sort of look for a particular person, like a particular presenter that we've had on, a guest that we've had on, you can search for them in the search field right there. Lindsay, can you see my podcast screen at the moment? Excellent. So hopefully you guys can see it. I think this should be recording okay, so you can dive in. Man, he was so much fun, wasn't he? I had so much fun recording that interview. Like, seriously, I was so bummed that I didn't get to see him at Ursa. Since we didn't have Ursa this year, I was really upset.
It was such a shame, but I was so happy to get to be able to at least hear him.
At least listen. Yeah, totally. And then the other section that you just talked about is this one here, which is search shows by category. And this, I think, some people may not know about this, but it's a really easy way to go, okay, well, this week we're going to work with our team on maybe I want to work with them on marketing, which was one of the ones that you brought up. And then if you click through there, you can see straight away there are 68 shows where we have some type of a focus on marketing. Now, it might not be the primary focus of the show. It might be like a sub-focus, or sometimes it might be the main focus. It depends from show to show, but you can effectively do that. There you go. The first thing that comes up is the $1 a day Facebook ad strategy with Dennis Yu. So you guys can search by category, or you can just jump in there. You can type in a keyword, type in a guest name, whatever the case may be. So that is super cool. And I'm so glad you talked about that, Lindsay. Thank you. So back to us now, because you just mentioned that you have this like Zoom catch up with the team, and this particularly interests me because we actually had Jason Stowell on an earlier video, and he was talking about the importance of making sure that we really run our Zoom meetings with an agenda and making it formal to make sure that we get the most out of it. So do you want to just give us like a look inside your Zoom meetings? Tell us a little bit about how you make sure, you said it's really important that the information that you learn is disseminated amongst the group, and so it's practical. Do you have someone that takes minutes? Do you have a chair for the meeting? Tell us a little bit about how how you are running your online Zoom meetings.
Absolutely. So as far as any meeting goes, and this applies to in-person meetings or Zoom meetings, we always have an agenda. One of the webinars we did earlier this year, they created this catchphrase of no agenda, no attenda. So we don't do meetings without agendas. We want to make sure that everything that we do has a purpose, and that it has actionable items that come out of it. So we set an agenda prior to each meeting that's usually sent out 24 hours in advance so that everybody can prepare, especially if there's some pre-work or things to review or think through beforehand. So we send that out in advance, and then inside each meeting, we always have a timekeeper and a note taker. And we review the notes at the end of the meeting as well to make sure that any action items that came up throughout the course of the meeting are documented so that we don't lose sight of them or they don't get lost, and also so that there's clarity on next action steps for everybody.
Oh, I love that. That is excellent. I love the organization around that. And keyword for the day, no agenda, no attender. That's right. Gold. That is gold. Everyone should live by that rule.
Right.
Digital meetings, like online or in person, that is brilliant. So Lindsay, one of the things that you kind of alluded to earlier on is the fact that your team and the business is committed to ongoing education. This is part of the culture. So outside of using the Fitness Business Podcast, and thank you so much for using the show as a resource for your learning, can you share with us any other type of resources or tools that you guys use that might be of interest to the rest of the viewers here today that they could also use for their ongoing education?
Absolutely. So we do Fitness Business Podcasts. TED Talks are also fantastic. We want to develop people as a whole, right? Not just as salespeople or membership counselors, but also as humans who are valuable parts of society. We want to make sure that we're developing them as a whole also. So TED provides some really great resources for making them just better people or more rounded people or thought-provoking ideas there. We do also send out blogs. There are some YouTube channels that we follow as well. But then in our Zoom meetings, some of the things that we do are role play. This is a perfect time where we have time to role play pre-tour needs assessments and customized tours through, some creative avenues since we can't get into the club, but we do spend a lot of time not only learning from audio, visual, and reading, but also role-playing and engaging with each other to keep our skills fresh, to keep ourselves practicing, and to keep our good habits going.
Oh, that is great. I love that you're doing role play during those sessions, and also massive fan of TED Talks. I could not agree more just how valuable they are for, whole life skills beyond just kind of the standard business stuff. So, and I would imagine for your team, that would make it interesting for them too, because they get the opportunity to move beyond just business or just club land to learn some more stuff that would impact them in their lives overall. So thank you for that, Lindsay. And I'm going to be super selfish on the last question and bring it back to the podcast. But before I do, as you were talking then and talking about the role play, have you listened to the interview that we did recently with Jason Stowell, which was on now I've got to find it, hang on. This is a really good one, and just based on what you just said, I think you guys will really like it. There's two that came to my mind, actually. One was an onboarding show, which I'm going to send you. Oh, the 7 pillars of predictable sales success. Have you guys done that one yet?
So I have listened to that one, and that is one that I have prepared. That'll probably be early next week that we send that out to the team.
Look at you.
That was also
yeah.
full of tons of just actionable steps afterwards and tons of great perspective and material. That was
so
wonderful.
Much, wasn't there? Good. Okay, well, I'm gonna be thinking about it and send you a couple of bonus shows that you can use as well, Lindsay. So to finish off today, do you think you could share for your Keep Me Fit Inspiration? Do you want to share with us your number one tip for other operators and managers out there for getting started with using the Fitness Business Podcast as a team training tool?
Absolutely. So I would say the number one thing to do is use what you know about your team, their strengths, their weaknesses, or areas of opportunity. Use what you know about them to guide the information that you push to them, so that you're making sure that you're giving them things that are directly related to what they're doing on a daily basis and the things that they can use practice on, or the good habits that we want to reinforce. But the most important thing, I think, is to have fun with it. I mean, this is in such an uncertain time. If we can find silver linings, like the time and energy and fantastic resources like this podcast to be able to develop our people, that's the most important thing, is to have fun with it and really remember why we're doing what we're doing, and that by making them better, we can have a bigger impact on the community.
Oh, what a fantastic message to finish up on, Lindsay. Thank you. And I just want to say thank you so much on behalf of JT and I and all of the team. Thank you for looking to the Fitness Business Podcast as a training tool. I love hearing about your commitment to ongoing training and education for all of your team. I'm so happy for you that you're able to still all work together during this time, and that you're making those really specific meetings and occasions to catch up and continue to learn and to continue to connect through all of this. So Lindsay, thank you so much for joining me today.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
And I also want to say a huge thank you to our friends at Precor, another one of our wonderful supporters of the show. Thank you so much to Precor for all of your ongoing support. Now, for anyone that has missed any of the previous COVID-19 videos, we've now got a library. We are starting to build a library very quickly, and all of those videos really are about getting in the trenches with club owners and operators. You guys can find them all at the website at fitnessbusinesspodcast.com, and just search right up the top for the COVID-19 videos. So from myself and all of the team at the Fitness Business Podcast, that is all for today. Lindsay, thank you once again, and we'll see you all in the next video.